Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with half, I would say, right? Am I correct? Half of Eleine?
Yeah, that's right.
Am I going to say the better half? Is that okay to say?
Any half is good, and we're 2 of 4.
You're a strong half.
Sure.
The first question I have for you guys is, how did you tackle the creative process behind Dancing in Hell?
Like we tackle any creative process, we just go head on and write what feels right.
Did you start working on this album? Like, how long ago did you guys start working on this record?
It was like in November, December 2018.
Wow, so a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot between all of the songwriting process as well, you know, festivals and all of that. But I mean, it's been a great journey. It has.
Yeah, and
it just felt good start.
And I actually got your first question now. We write what we know, what we see, and what we feel. And that's how we tackled it. And we started as metal.
But having started back then and releasing the album now, do you guys work on a song here and a song there? Or when you're ready to, you feel like you're ready to put an album together, do you sit down and work through it in a sequence?
No, we work like track for track. I mean, we started, the first one we wrote for this album was All Shall Burn. And that was in like December 2018. And then Dancing in Hell, and it was Enemies, and it was Die From Within, and everything just went on. You know, you get into this creative vibe and you just continue. And I mean, then we just felt that, okay, now we have a couple of songs, and yeah, this is the album. I mean, then you have the rest of the process, that is the symphonic arrangements made by Rikard. And I mean, only that is like half of it. I mean, arranging a complete symphonic orchestra like that, it's not just, ooh, one violin there and maybe another there. I mean, it's the entire orchestra. So it's a lot of work. And I mean, an album is usually done pretty long before it's released, you know, due to all the promotion. And since we make our own music videos, we do that as well. So it's been a couple of months of other work. So finally it's getting out there.
One of the things that surprised me, maybe it just surprised me, but it definitely surprised me, was the inclusion of Enemies and All Shall Burn on this full-length album, considering that you guys had released them as part of the All Shall Burn EP last year. Was that always part of the thought process that you were going to include these 2 tracks in the full-length anyways?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it was. Because they were a part of the Dancing in Hell experience. And the EP is like a bridge between Until the End and Dancing in Hell.
For me, the concern that I had listening to it, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, is that when you start listening to the album, there's a lot of material on this album that you're already aware of before you even press play, because you released 3 singles. 2 of the songs were on the EP. So out of the 11 tracks, 5 tracks people already heard. Are you worried that that will impact the overall experience of the record?
No. The other way, actually, because every song has a meaning to this album. We don't just write random tracks. I mean, All Shall Burn is connected with Dancing in Hell, and Die From Within, and Die From Within is connected with The World We Knew. So everything has a thought behind it from our creative process. So that thing, to me, is not something negative, because we really want to highlight each and every track. If I could do it, I would release all of the tracks as singles, just because all of the tracks deserve the attention, you know. I want everyone to just not miss out, because, I mean, you know that true metal fans do listen to entire albums. I do myself. And I know that it has this kind of atmosphere to it, you know, that I really like. It's not only the songs and maybe the lyrics all the time, it's like the entire atmosphere. But some don't. And some people just don't. And then why miss out on an awesome track just because you don't listen to the full album? So it's like for everyone, and especially ourselves, because we put all entire souls into it. So highlighting this, like, yeah, here you go, I'm proud of this, please listen.
I felt listening to the record, I was a little bit divided on that, because I felt listening to the album that the album has a great playability and great fluidity. The album is almost 50 minutes, around that 50-minute mark. You don't feel like you're listening to a 50-minute album. It goes by really quickly. And I think one of the reasons is that I already knew 2 songs, then I got the singles. So going in, there was a sense of familiarity with the record. So it allowed me to digest the overall record better because I already knew so many of the tracks. So that's the positive side. But on the other side, I was really divided. On the other side, I'm like, I wanted more new material. I want to be surprised with every single turn. And when you listen to the album and it starts off with Enemies, a song that was released on that All Shall Burn EP, I was like, okay, this is a great start because it's a song that I already know. But then you give me another song, okay, this one I didn't know, but this one I know. So I was really divided. I was like, okay, I love the playability that you guys created by releasing all of these tracks. But at the same time, I was like, I want to be surprised. And I felt like there was not enough of that surprise factor there. Can you see where I'm coming from?
Well, kind of, not really, because I don't really see it that way. But, you know, I hear your words and I understand words, you know. But yeah, you know, as you have that.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, that's the way it should be, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people, like millions of people, that will have no clue that we released an EP.
Or even
in like
single.
20 years, they'll be like, they released an EP, really? You know?
Yeah,
and they'll be like, oh, it was full of surprises.
And I mean, you are so into all of the new music being released. I can just imagine how you actually listen to it every week. So I mean, you're into it. You're like fully there. And I mean, not everyone is just like
that is fair. That is fair.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about that because I mean, we do have some fans that are like, they really are into Eleine, but still some, wait, have you released a 3rd single? Where am I? What am I doing? Why haven't I listened to it? So I mean, there's, because it's a full feed on Facebook and Instagram and all of that. Yeah. So I mean, you're just doing a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate the honesty that we're having with each other, because I don't think it would be fair for me to not bring this up, because to me, if there was only one thing on the album that kind of hurt it, at least it hurt to me, was that aspect. But the other side is it made the album playability absolutely phenomenal, because like I said, it's 50 minutes, but it feels like I was listening to the album for 30. It just goes by so quickly.
Yeah, the thing that you're seeing there, actually our patrons, we're really close with our patrons. They said that when they listened to, I think it was Above Death and Dancing in Hell, or basically all singles, right? Yeah. They said that it didn't feel like 5 minutes, or it didn't feel like 4 minutes. They were like, is it already over? So you're not alone with that feeling. And that, I think that's very good, because time passes quickly when you have anxiety, and also when you're having fun.
Yeah, and I think it's important for this album to have that playability to it, because if there was one thing that I took from this record, is that I didn't feel like I had to work my way through it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it didn't feel like I had to labor. Okay, now I have to listen to this song. Okay, now there's another one. How many are still to go until the end? I never had that feeling listening to the album, because the album just flew by, and the fact that I knew some of the songs in it, it helped that too, because that's a song that I really like, and it's going to come on next. So like, there's something to be excited about. So that's why I said I'm really divided, because I like it, but at the same time, I wanted to be surprised, like almost at every single turn. So, but maybe that's just me, and let's move on from that. I don't want to dwell on it, and I want to ask you guys about a very important element of this record, which is the soundscape. I feel like you guys are one of the few bands that uses orchestration, symphonic elements, but doesn't allow those elements to overpower everything that's happening as far as the sound is concerned. I could still hear the guitars. I can still hear the drums. I can still hear the bass. Is that one of the things that you would consider being part of the DNA of what Eleine is all about?
Sure. I mean, we don't really think about it. We just do it, you know, because it feels right. And we have the vision that it's supposed to be an effect and not like a main course, you know? It's supposed to help the song and aid the song. That is actually how we also write songs. We say it's supposed to be for the song, and no egos, as with some orchestration also, you know? Yeah,
we've always said that. I mean, we do have the symphonic orchestrations, but I mean, the song should be good without it. So that is how we've been working with it. So I mean, and as for my vocals, I've always said that I'm one of the instruments in this band. I don't want to be like in total front and it gets this karaoke feeling of the music in the back. And that is actually how some do think symphonic metal is supposed to be. And I really do not appreciate that, because when you include the vocals into the guitars, bass, and drums, and all of the symphonic, you get that like extra atmospheric vibe. And that is why I personally like bands like Rotten Christ. Their atmosphere is just fantastic, and they don't even have the symphonic orchestras.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say, nice plug. You could, you can say that, and I agree with you 100%. But your voice is still phenomenal. I mean, like we can't take anything away from the quality of your vocals on this record. I agree with you. I noticed that your voice was one of the elements, and everything as far as the sound is concerned is very balanced. Like you guys create a soundscape that's very equal across all elements, including your voice. But let's face the facts: your voice is still the main course.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
I mean, it's one thing to listen to the instrumental; it's the other thing to listen to you singing. So I have to put it from that perspective. And how would you guys characterize the overall guitar work? I really enjoyed it, but I want to hear from you guys.
I don't really understand the question.
Like, how do you define the guitar sound on this album? Is there a way that you have to define the sound of the guitars? Do you feel it like it's heavy, it's more melodic, creating more atmosphere, dictating the tempo of the songs? How do you look at the guitars?
I mean, I'm all about riffs, you know? I love riffage, and that's what I do best. And approaching this album, we knew that we wanted a thicker sound. So I recorded like every guitar on the album, and it's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of the same thing over and over. But it creates this massive wall that is not overpowering, but you do notice that it's quite a bit of a punch. You know?
It has to bite.
Yeah. So that was the approach, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that it works well for this record, and it works well for you guys. Is that something that you always do, and you always have in the back of your mind, that you want to create that big guitar sound, that big volume, like you said, layers upon layers upon layers?
Yeah, we really do enjoy that kind of bite, you know? And up until now, we didn't really know how, you know?
Yeah, it was, I mean, if we could do Until the End again, I would enjoy having the guitars like we have in Dancing in Hell.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that we found the guitars for Eleine with Dancing in Hell. I really do. I'm real satisfied, because I really like the heavier metal, and I want that like punch, you know? I want to feel it to the bone and headbang.
Yeah, also
So, yeah.
same with bass, you know? It has to be there. It has to be a real punch. And the drums, like the bass kick has to be like a gut punch, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm really satisfied with the all-over sound with the album. I'm really, really proud. Yeah.
Is this something that you're going to take from this record now as you move forward? Like you finally found the perfect formula?
Well, if I'm speaking out of right now, I'm going to say yes. But, you know, in a year or two, maybe that answer will change.
Yeah.
We're always evolving, always creating new stuff and new ways to do things. So...
Yeah, it always starts with having a vision. You know, you hear it in your head, and just for the music videos, you see something like a vision, and that is always something that we're trying to strive for. And just, okay, we have this, and we want to do that, and just let's see how it goes. And so far, it has been pretty well. So let's see what the next vision is.
Oh yeah, we're not afraid to evolve.
No, we should never be.
I mean, we change as humans, so it's only natural that you would change and evolve as musicians as well. And we touched a little bit about your vocals. I want to go back to the vocals. Was there any challenges on this record for you vocally?
Yeah, there was. I mean, just for Until the End, I had some, but I mean, it was not even near. I mean, for me, it's like, I do know that I have a great technique. I can do a lot, but it's like when you're running around or you're windmilling at the same time, and you're gonna have this high pitched, like intense parts, like Weary Rotting Corpse Fly is the most like, oh Jesus, okay, now we're doing this. But I mean, it's always just pretty challenging in the beginning, because then you get used to it. You get used to being on stage and performing it. Then it's just like simple. So I really like that little extra challenge. So yeah. I like that song.
The entire album has been challenging for every member of the band, really, because that is also a way that we work. We want challenge ourselves, you know, to do new stuff, but not like new and add blip blop and stuff like that. You know, I'm not talking about that.
You should just never get too comfortable. That is like the thing, and that is something I think for everyone in all of the jobs you can think of in the world. You should never like, oh yeah, now we're complete, I'm gonna leave it here. No,
you can do it in your sleep thing. I mean, you should be able to do it in your sleep. If it's like when you're out on tour, that's a different thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like going into the studio for the first time. I'm gonna record this song, and who cares, you know, and it's done. It has to be fun and challenging. Yeah.
What part of, talking about going into the studio, what part of the recording process do you guys enjoy the most?
Oh, you go first.
I was about
Passing the hot potato. Passing the hot potato.
Yeah. Well, the final result is always the greatest part. But I mean, of course, I really do enjoy when being in there, laying down all of the vocals, just being in your little bubble, you know, going into the song like very deep, just being there. It's very, you feel very fragile and like, very naked in a way.
Do you guys go in, like, do your part and bounce because you don't want to hang around, or you like to hang around and be involved in everything else that is happening?
Yeah, we're hanging out.
We produce everything.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to hang around.
Yeah, we have to be there.
It's very long days, but I mean, it's fun. I mean, you're sitting there just like, okay, let's do it once again. But I mean, it's a part of it. And as boring as it can be sometimes when doing it for the 25th time, I mean, as exciting it actually is, because it will be the final result that will be there for the rest of your entire career. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And
for me, it's the orchestration, building the sound and the soundscape. And so cool. Also actually doing my growls and my vocals. I really like that process.
Yeah.
Because it's a thing that I'm not really comfortable with doing. With the recording parts, I mean, you get so much pressure on you to do like correctly, you know? And you need to.
How do you approach that part? Because are you listening to the track and you're like, oh, this song right now could really use some harsh vocals, just a little bit. Is that how you approach it, or as you constructing the song, you already know this is where you're going to do at that specific point?
It's exactly as you said the first time. When we were listening to a song, we, as you noticed, we don't have growls on each and every song.
Yeah.
Every song don't really need it. We could always cram it in there, but then you would be one of those bands that the fans listening will be like, okay, this will come now, then it comes this, then growls, then female, then male, then female, male. You know, it's tiring. It's really tiring. So each song to their own. If it needs it, sure. If it doesn't, no.
And you also have the clean vocals, which I appreciate, because then you can even make some more dynamic and different ways to do it.
What feels right?
Yeah, I was
staying true. You know, you need to stay
more organic. It makes the album feel more organic from that perspective, because you're not pre-deciding what you're going to do. You're kind of going with the flow of where the track is taking you.
Yeah, never ever pre-deciding.
Yeah, I do remember one of the songs. It was pretty much done, and I do remember Rikard saying, the second verse there, I feel something. It just doesn't feel right. It's often you saying that, no, it just doesn't feel right, and you just change it. I think it's Memoriam, the second verse. He did a variation of it. It was just like, okay, it got even better. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a part of my ADHD kicking in there, you know.
It's very good.
That song is one of my favorite tracks on the album. I love that track.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Outside of the singles and outside of the songs you guys had previously released, that one is definitely one of my top songs. I love that track.
Thank you very much.
I just love it. It's dynamic, it's fluid, it has changes from the verses into the chorus, it has mellow, it has bombastic, it has a little bit of everything. It's just a very complete track all around.
Cool. Thanks.
And when you're looking at a track and you're not sure, okay, do I put some harsh vocals here? Do I do this here? Who's the voice of reason in Eleine? Who's the one that comes in and says, guys, listen to me. This will work.
Us both.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes we headbutt, and sometimes we don't. You know, it's we work together, and I know it's a boring ass answer, but whatever feels right.
Yeah, we always put like we've been always working like that. We always put Eleine first. No one's ego goes first. I mean, I've been having some great ideas, in my opinion, but as when I've shown Rikard it, he maybe says that is not a good idea. That is not very Eleine.
Yeah,
Oh
and the
no,
other way
hell,
around.
you're right, and the other way around.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is why, because when you're sitting there having your like moment, I mean, of all the ideas you get, I mean, some of them are really good, and the rest is just like nah.
Crap.
It's not. Yeah, it's crap. It's not for this. So Eleine is always here, and the ego's not in this like around at all.
And we always say that if you're really certain about your thing, do a small recording of it, like on your phone or whatever, and then later on we can listen to it then, and then oh shit, yeah, it was a good idea. I'm sorry. You know, it's all about being humble, working together, and sure, you will butt heads, but come on, it'll be sorted out in the end.
Yeah, and sometimes I do like when someone is saying no, because then I can make up even more arguments and speak for my idea. And like, you know, it's very interesting now I'm talking about it.
Sometimes you actually evolve your idea because it's at that stage where you just say your idea and the other person doesn't really get it, you know, and you need to like elaborate and evolve the idea to something like tangible.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you guys have learned about yourselves during the process of making this record?
Oh man.
Well, yeah, a lot. You go first.
Yeah, I was about to. Shit. I was going to say that we always write what we know, what we've been through, and what we see. So this has actually been a growing thing for us also, you know. We've learned a lot with the writing process, but also it's like self-medicating, you know, with music. It is for everyone, actually. Music is a very, very powerful thing. And we know that a lot of people gain strength and find comfort within our songs because we always write from our own experience and what we see, as I just said. And I think that people pick up on that. It's never like spot on with like what our songs are about. Mm-hmm. It's always that people can relate to them in their own way. Like I struggled with anorexia a couple of years back, and some tracks are like slightly about that, my struggle with that. And also Madeleine has had some like major rough patches, and everyone has. So yeah, I think we grow as people. Everyone does. It's a cheesy answer, but there you go.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree, because I mean it's been a hell of a ride the last couple of years.
It has.
And
really
it never stops. You know, you will always meet people that will like put you down and all of that. And I mean, I the thing I've learned about all this is, like you said, it's self-medicating, but I really got reminded with every track that okay, it might be tough sometimes, and I do have depressions from now and then. I do. A lot of musicians do, because I don't want to say special, but we have these creative minds, and you can't be stopped from doing it, because it's easy to always fall back on depression. But there will always be a better tomorrow, even if it's not coming tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow can be a shitty day, and the next day after that as well, but somewhere there in the future it will be better. And that is something I feel that I've really learned about all of this. And also to actually just go with my own voice and the gut feeling, you know, because as I said, you will always meet people that will not be kind to you. And I've met people that hasn't been kind, but now I think I will cut them off earlier because I'm done with bullies.
Well said. I agree with everything you guys said. I feel the same way. Life is too short, and there's always something positive down the road. We just have to keep looking for it and try to approach it. You know, we may get a couple of days in between that are not so good, but there's always hope for something better. I mean, my mother used to say, nothing that's bad will last forever. And same could be said for something that's good, right? So things come in cycles.
Yeah,
really
that
does.
was a good saying.
Yeah, this is a good saying.
Yeah.
I have a question outside of this record that I really have to mention, because I discovered you guys through the Mein Herz Brent cover that you guys did. And
Yeah.
that was my introduction to you guys. Because when I saw that release, I was like, I got to check this out. Like, I mean, this is not an easy thing to pull off. What do they have in store for us? So that was a song that really opened the doors of Eleine to me. How much of a gamble was it for you guys to do that cover? Or was it a gamble at all?
Well, it's always a gamble when you do covers. I would
Yes.
say, like, any cover any band has ever done is a gamble, because that song has fans, you know.
Yeah.
But
As we are.
But really,
Yeah.
we don't really care about the gambling a bit of it all, because it felt right, and Rammstein has meant so much to us for over the years, and was our little way of saying thanks.
Yeah, it was.
Would you guys consider another cover in the future? Like, was the impact of that song enough that you guys would definitely go down that path again? Maybe not with that band, with a different band, different song.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Even if no one would have liked it, we were open for doing covers.
Yeah, we
Sure.
did it because we like it and we wanted to make a tribute. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would do that again.
And with saying that, we love a lot of bands.
Oh,
So if we haven't covered your song, don't be sad. You know,
You'll get to it. You'll get to it.
we're in this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So.
You're in for the long haul. You definitely
Yeah.
in for the long haul. I have one more question for you guys, and that is, as you start to see the date for the album release approaching, November 27 on Black Lodge Records, what are your personal expectations for this record?
Well, our personal expectations are, as always, we have no idea. We would love for people to just listen to it and take it all in and gain their own experience from it. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are very, you guys are setting the bar very low for this record. I think your expectations should be that it would hit #1 in the charts, and once the pandemic is over, we're going to go touring, we're going to take over the world.
That is the actual plan, dude. I mean, like that is what we want. I mean, that has nothing to do with expectation. That is coming.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Oh my God. See it this way. That is like the goal. That is all of the goals, but our expectations. I'm like that. I never want to expect too much, because the more disappointed I could get, and that is just experience from life. So I'm going into this. We've created this, and I hope everyone likes it, so we can reach our goals of like being #1 in the world, touring everywhere, and with all of the bands that we want to tour with. So yeah, hopefully one day.
And with that said, this is actually the best album we've ever written.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the album is really strong. I really enjoyed the record. I think you guys did a wonderful job. And you guys did a wonderful job creating a very well-balanced record, from vocals to sound. Everything intertwines. And this is an album that I didn't feel like there was one element behind the driver's seat. There's not one thing that's really pushing the album forward. Everything together is pushing the album forward. So I have to thank you for putting together such a strong album, and congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. So
Means
happy
a
I
lot.
like it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. Best of luck with the release. Once again, it comes out Dancing in Hell, November 27th, Black Lodge Records. Go pick it up. Support these guys. Great band, great record. All the best, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.